Today we are digging into an incredible story. It's all about how Zillow, against all odds, managed to crush it in one of the toughest housing markets we've seen in a long, long time. This is a story about a massive pivot, smart leadership, and a killer new strategy.
So first, let's just get a feel for the scene. The real estate world right now, it's rough. Seriously, you've got these super high mortgage rates that are scaring buyers away, and at the same time, there's just not enough houses for sale. It's a really tough environment for pretty much any company in the real estate game. But here's the crazy part. In the middle of all this doom and gloom, Zillow seems to be completely ignoring it. Their revenue is up, investors are thrilled, and their whole game plan is working. So the big question is, how in the world are they pulling this off?
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll see just how much they're crushing the competition. Then, we'll get into the big strategic pivot that really changed the game for them. After that, we're going to peek under the hood at their growth engine. And finally, we'll see what Wall Street thinks of all this.
Okay, let's start with just how big a deal this is. I mean, how much better is Zillow really doing compared to everyone else struggling out there?
You gotta see this to believe it. In the second quarter of 2024, the entire real estate industry was basically flat. Nothing was happening. But Zillow, in that same exact window, their revenues shot up by 13%. That's not just a little better, that is a huge difference.
And listen, this wasn't some lucky break. They posted a 15% revenue jump for the entire year of 2024, and then they did it again in the second quarter of 2025. You see that kind of steady growth in a dead market, and you know something big has changed under the surface.
Right. That kind of performance doesn't just happen. It all points to a huge shift in strategy, a pivot that's not just about growth, but about making real money. And that's the core of this whole turnaround. So the new playbook is called the Super App Strategy. And the idea is actually pretty simple. Stop being so dependent on people buying and selling houses. Instead, they're going all in on rentals and mortgages. This gives them a bunch of different ways to make money, which means the whole company is way more stable no matter what the housing market is doing.
And you can see just how different this is. Remember the whole iBuying thing? Zillow was basically flipping houses and losing an absolute fortune doing it. Well, now they've switched to what's called an asset-light model. They're not buying the houses anymore. And the result? Boom, their first actual GAAP profitable quarter since 2022.
Now, I know GAAP profitability sounds like some boring accounting term, but trust me, it's a huge deal. It just means their profit is real, according to the official rules. For investors, this was like a giant flashing sign that said, hey, this new strategy isn't just smoke and mirrors, it's actually sustainable.
So we know the big picture is that they're finally profitable, but where is that growth really coming from? Let's pop the hood and see what's actually driving this thing. And this is where that whole super app idea really shines. Yeah, their main home selling business is doing fine, growing at a solid 6 to 11%. But check out these other numbers. Rentals are up 36%, and mortgages, a mind-blowing 86% growth at its peak. That's what diversification looks like in action.
So what's behind these insane numbers? Well, for rentals, they've just had a flood of new multifamily home listings. For mortgages, they've gotten really smart about working with their partner agents in key markets. And even their core business is getting a nice little bump from new tools for sellers. Every single piece is firing on all cylinders.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, and maybe the most important one. All this strategy is great, but what does the market think? How did Wall Street, the people with the money, react?
You can literally pinpoint the moment investors got excited. The day Rich Waxman was named CEO back in August 2024, the stock popped 20%. And then, as all these great earnings reports started coming out quarter after quarter, the stock just kept climbing, all the way from about $55 to nearly $86 a share. And let's be clear, this wasn't just a one-time bump. The stock kept going up because the market was giving a massive thumbs up to the whole package. The new CEO, the new business model, the whole super app idea. It was Wall Street saying, we believe in this. So all of this leaves us with one big question for the future. We've seen the numbers, we've seen Wall Street's reaction, but could this new super app strategy actually change the way we all use Zillow for good? Could it go from just a place to look at pretty houses to the one place you go for everything related to your home? That's the billion-dollar question we'll all be watching.